What's up, YouTube? Welcome to another day in the life of It's Just Nay. This is Nikita's Life, and this is episode 3 of the Talking Corner, my podcast. I know it's not set up like one, but who cares? I don't. Either you're gonna watch it or you're not. But anyways, I'm gonna need y'all to go ahead, like, subscribe, comment, share, tell a friend, and be safe out here in the snow if you are in any of the areas that got snow. Be safe, y'all. But any hoosies, so this episode, we're talking about preparing for like death basically, and I hope like YouTube don't take this down. This is just for informative purposes only. So a lot of people that look like me, black, brown, and people of color, we don't prepare for death properly. We either wait until the person is gone before we even like buy the plot, buy the coffin, try to get money together to bury them. Usually we don't have a will, we don't have a trust, we don't have any of these things. So let's start from the beginning. When you have a kid, make sure you take out a life insurance policy on them. Basically, as soon as they're born. This is not cliche, this is not taboo. This is so the premiums can be cheaper, and so that just in case anything happens over the course of their life, that you have money to be able to bury your child if they happen to die before you. And we all know that that is possible. That is number one. Make sure it's a life term, not a short term. Make sure it's a life term policy. You can take out multiple if you want to and if you need to. Make sure that is a significant amount of money so that it can cover the funeral cost. Funerals start at least $10,000. At least. You have to pay for the funeral home. You have to pay for the casket. You can rent a casket, absolutely. But whether you rent it or pay for it, you still gotta pay. You don't necessarily need a church, but that's up to you. You don't necessarily have to buy new clothes, but you do have to pay for them to get buried in the ground or to get cremated. Either way, you still have to pay. Now, if they're getting buried in like a veterans cemetery, you do not have to pay for them to open the ground, but you only get 2 plots. You have to pay for if the body needs to get shipped from one state to another, one country to another, floral arrangements, etc. Obituaries, you know, cars, like the limousines, whatever, right? So you want to make sure that the policy has more than enough money to cover a majority of the expenses, if not all of the expenses. Now, you want to talk to whomever is in your immediate circle of whomever you know you're going to have to help bury when they leave this earth. You want to talk to them and talk to each other about how much their life insurance policy is. Where do they keep it at? Do they have a will? Do they have a trust? Do they have some sort of secret account? Do they have some money lying around in the house? Whatever, what are their last wishes if they were to get sick or to get terminal or not, or have to be on breathing tubes and life support, this, that, and the third. You know what I mean? Do they want to be kept on life support? If so, for how long? If they go into a coma, do they just want the plug to be pulled immediately? Do they want to be cremated? Do they want to be buried? Do they want you to keep the ashes? Do they want you to spread the ashes in the ocean somewhere? Do they want just a ceremony with just family? Do they want a big funeral, a small funeral? Do they want a viewing and a funeral? You know what I mean? Like, what kind of coffin do they want to be buried in? Like, do they want to be buried with any personal items? What cemetery do they want to be buried in? Blah, 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 blah. There is a lot that goes into preparing for someone's death. And the more that you know prior to them getting sick, shot, car accident, whatever, the better. Because then you can already have that information so that when they pass away, you don't have to be sitting there while you're grieving trying to figure all of these things out. And the reason why I'm doing this topic for this podcast is because I've lost so many people on my mom's side. I've lost people on my dad's side too, but not as much. And when those people passed away, I wasn't as involved in the process. I wouldn't say I was that much involved in processes on my mom's side, but I have been for certain people's funerals. I actually have been. So I was able to see that we didn't have enough money. The life insurance policy didn't cover everything. We had to pick out the casket, like especially when my great grandfather died, we had to pick out what kind of casket and what it his at that time his second wife uh, wanted him to wear, or whatever the case may have. You like, I wrote the obituary because they wanted to keep some things out, and I was like, well, his second wife wanted to keep things out, and I'm like, nope, not gonna happen. We're putting my great grandmother, which was his first wife, putting her in there, and we're putting his kids, his grandkids, his great grands, great great grands, because he does have a great grand. All the stuff, right? Are we gonna have a 1 day service or a 2 day service? I think we had a 1 day service. I think we had his viewing and his funeral all in the same day. I want to say. I think so. I want to say we did. I want to say we had his viewing and his funeral all in 1 day. And then they went to the cemetery. Yeah, then they went to the cemetery after. I didn't go to the cemetery. We had the repast, whatever. In case may have you have, a lot of like black people. I don't know, Caribbean people. I mean, I guess some Caribbean people do have repasses. Like my aunt, my dad, and them. They had repasses for the people that we did lose. So yeah. Who's gonna cook for the repast? Blah blah blah. Where you gonna have it at? So I got to see a lot of like what goes into funerals and what happens when you don't have the right amount of information, the right amount of time, the right amount of money. It can drag. It can become a lot, especially when you're grieving. So you definitely want to know, like, what my mama's side of the family. I know anybody that passed away, we going to Gilmore. We ain't going to nowhere else. Now, unless Gilmore is like solely booked up, then we're gonna go to, I forget what the other one is called, but it's like not too far from where my grandma's house is. It's J. Foster Phillips, I think. But those is like the only two funeral homes that I know for sure. My mom's side of the family, yeah, they want to go to one of those. Gilmore first, the other one second if Gilmore's booked up. And 9 times out of 10, that's only for them to do the body. 9 times out of 10, they want the service in the church because that's most of us grew up in church. So they want to have a church, they want to have a preacher. You know what I'm saying? And then you want to be able to know who is doing what, who reading the old scripture, the new scripture, who is eulogizing, who is reading the obituary, who's singing, who doing the piano, whatever, praise dancing, etc. And I just feel like knowing all of this in advance would just help ease the pressure of doing it while you're grieving and having to figure all of this thing out at the last minute. So I just feel like we as people of color, I'm looking that way because my dog, she looked like she want to go to the bathroom, and I feel like she did. But people of color, we should take this a little bit more seriously. We should put things into place way before it's our time to go. You know what I mean? Just to help our kids, help our siblings, help whoever is gonna be the ones doing our final arrangements for us, so that they don't have to be guessing and wondering if this is what we want, starting a GoFundMe or whatever other things that people have to do when things just are not in order. So this is a shorter podcast than my other two episodes, but it's just because there's really nothing else to say. Like, maybe that person has a special color, maybe that person has a different religion, so you have to do things a different way. Maybe that person has property, so you need to know who it's assigned to in the trust or the will or whatever the case may have. Your wills can be contested in court, so it's better to have trust and things like that. what cemetery they want to be buried in, if they want to be buried this, that, and the third. You know, who's going to be the pallbearers, whatever. But there's really not much else to say in regards to this topic. I just cannot stress enough to pre-plan these things, and you can prepay for plots. You can prepay for the plot in cemetery. You can prepay for a lot of things that, you know, go on when you're passed away. So, I don't know what the next video y'all are gonna see is. I don't know if it's gonna be another Talking Corner podcast. I don't know if it's gonna be what it's gonna be. I don't know. But I'm gonna post something. I don't know. I don't know when. I don't know what. But like I said, I'm trying to bring y'all more content. So just bear with me. Bear with me. Bear with me. But yeah, that's really it. So thank you for joining me in another. It's just hey, I'm about to go change my dog. Peace.